Well, it is week 4 of the LCS with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Armao, who has once again returned to Team Liquid in their time of need and doing quite well. Well, what is it like for you to just constantly show up in these moments and have to, I don't know, do the best that you can in a very awkward situation?
I mean, yeah, it's it's definitely interesting because it's such a different way of subbing. Like, I mean, health issues do happen in League, but it's not super common, right? We're not playing like a normal sport. But they do happen, and like in Santorin's case, it's actually like a pretty serious issue, and it does suck because like he's been playing so well, in my opinion. Like obviously as the academy jungler, I'm like trying to reach the LCS spot, but he's been playing so well. I've been talking to him about the game and stuff, and like he was ranked 2 in solo queue, like he's just on the grind. And I mean, obviously it sucks that he can't play as a result, but for me, it is an opportunity myself, to, obviously, to play well, play in the situations that I'm given. So it's like I guess it's like a mixed bag of feelings then.
Do you feel a lot of pressure given you think Santorn's been playing well? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
easier when you replace a player who's just been like having a ton of issues because then people just want you to do okay and then it's great. But in this situation, it's a little bit more tough than that, I assume.
Yeah, I mean it's good because it's like a standard that I want to reach with like how well I can like impact the team and just impact the game in general. But I agree, it's like it's pressure to when you're playing against like a playing under like a high level LCS player and you're subbing in versus like a lower level LCS player. So I think the pressure's good. I want to perform well, so I would overall say it's a good thing.
Okay, so I think I may have asked you this, or other people may have asked you this, but I gotta bring it back up again. Uh, what has happened? You seem like a different player, both when we do these interviews and also when you are on stage. You just seem, I think, I mean, I remember our old interviews. You were a lot more quiet,
Yeah.
and also there was at a time where I think you received a lot of criticism. People would say you're doing great in scrims, but not on stage. And
Hmm.
whenever the TL news hit, obviously a lot of people were focused on the Jet and Alfari drama, but like, I saw just a swell of people saying like, "Oh, I hope Santorin feels good," but like Armeo, there's a lot of faith in you now that there just wasn't
Yeah.
before. So I just kind of love to hear from your side. What has changed for you? Why you think you seem a little bit more confident in these interviews? You seem more confident on stage. What happened?
Well, yeah, going back to the TSM days, I would say I jumped into like a high pressure LCS situation pretty fast. I was 18, I think, when I started in 2018 summer, like after replacing Mike Young. So for me, it was very mentally taxing. Like just, I mean, like a lot of players come into this situation. So, um, I mean, I think I was already like I'm still like a pretty reserved person for the most part, so I don't think I'm too different. But I could definitely see the difference in interviews and stuff. But I don't want to watch my own old interviews. I mean, I would. It's hard to look at your own stuff. But yeah, I think that's a lot of it. TSM was just very high pressure at like a early part of my career. And it sucks I didn't perform as well as I'd hoped back then. Um, Nowadays, I mean, I definitely still feel like the stress and pressure, like all pro players do when they like jump into LCS situations. But it's just not as like strong and like stifling, I guess, as it was back then. If that makes sense.
Yeah, is that why you're able to perform better on stage, or was there work that you put in to? Because again, everybody would say you're great in scrims, and then it just wouldn't show up on stage. So I'm trying to kind of understand, like, if there some mental process you went through? Was there somebody that you worked with to be able to like overcome this? I don't know.
I think it was like probably like a natural mental process. I would have to. I haven't really reflected on it that much, but I have a little bit. Like, so I have thought about it. I would agree. Like back then, I think I have improved as a player. Like I think especially in the last off season when I went to Korea and just overall just thinking about stuff. So I don't think I was like a super insane player back then, even with the scrim stuff. But I was definitely like a pretty good player, and I didn't really show it in the stage games. But I guess for me it felt like kind of natural, like just like playing more, and it didn't feel like there was like some like moment of like talking to someone or like anything like that. If that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay, so it just kind of happened over time. What
Yeah.
do you think that you could be an LCS starter right now?
Like yeah, skill wise, definitely.
Okay.
I guess then the answer is just yes, because that's the thing about LCS starters. But yeah, I do think so.
I mean, so is it weird for you to be in academy right now? Do you feel like you're kind of just in like a holding pattern while you figure out
Um,
when you'll get in?
n- Not necessarily. I think like at the top end of academy, there's quite a few junglers who are probably. I mean, I would just say better than the bottom LCS junglers, which, I mean, honestly, oftentimes it's just how it is with roster stuff. Like players might not want to be on bottom teams, like buyouts, all those things, right? Not necessarily in my case, just in general. Like for jungle and academy, there's like players like I'll just use one example because I don't want to like go through a whole list, but like Kenvi is obviously a very good player and like he could play in LCS as well, just right now as a young player. So like it's not like it doesn't feel like that negative if that makes sense. Because like if I play against like players like that, I'm not feeling like I'm just like wasting my time or something or any of that. And working with the academy team on TL has been fun. You know, at the beginning it was with Bob Jenkins, and then he jumped in, and now I have Dokla who's good, and then I was working with the other the Minimva as well. So it's not like too bad.
Okay, like I during your game, I was looking at how you were doing and how Jenkins was doing. It obviously really popped off on Akali. There was I saw a lot of salty tweets about the strength of Akali right now, but I was thinking a lot, and I'm like, it's so funny because Santorin and Alfari, great players who people really like. But these were two players who I think a lot of people, a lot of team owners would have spent a lot of money to secure for the team, and then we just bring in academy folks and like TL still winning games, and people think really highly of you guys, which makes me think, oh, there's so much talent down
Yeah.
below the LCS. But then I had to reflect, and I was like, well, on the other hand, we've seen a lot of teams try to do like the development thing and bring in some of these rookies and or these academy players, and then they just don't perform great in the LCS. So I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around like, do we actually have a lot of good talent in academy? Is it just these players are getting translated over to the LCS too quickly? Like, is it just really hard to succeed on a bottom team? Like, what is happening where like you guys can show up on TL and it feels like the team is still really strong, but then some of these other players that were supposed to be really good show up on these other teams and they just don't get it?
Yeah. I think actually I have a lot of perspective on this. So I'll just use like an example of myself. So after like there was like the weird TSM 2019 situation, obviously, just ignore all that. I played in academy with like Tactical, Blaze Olive, Treats Brandini, and we won academy in 2019, right? And then going into 2020, when I was like gonna be going to an LCS team, right? I ended up joining Dig. Like I was like, oh, like I would like to like play with some of the players from TSM Academy. Like in particular, I said like I really liked working with the Blazov, um, my mid laner there, and I mean that did not happen. The roster on Dig was fine. There's nothing about the roster, but like I guess my point is like you work with the players in Academy that you work with. You work in a system. Like I worked with Peter Zhang, and then you're tossed into a completely different system, to completely different players, which it doesn't mean like you're going to perform poorly, but it definitely makes the job harder versus like bringing in players. Like for this jump up, I worked with like Tactical and Core and in-houses. I worked with Bob Jenkins in Academy. Like the jump up is just it's easier, right? The systems are similar. So when you like completely switch teams, I think that can sometimes hinder, especially like a newer player. Like if you had like 17-year-old, 18-year-old really good player, completely changing system, completely changing teammates, it could be difficult. So I guess my point is that there is talent. I think there are good players in academy as an example. Like I already named Kenvi. There's others as well.
I mean,
Um,
oh,
so yeah,
sorry. I was just gonna say. I mean, it sounds like the secret is instead of selling off academy players or whatever, like making sure they're in the same system and like, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you benefited a lot from popping up to the main roster from the academy roster, and there was less of a like jarring situation rather than if you just got like thrown onto FlyQuest or Golden Guardians or something like
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
I almost kind of think that like what I see with TL and what I see C9 do, you would think it would make a lot of sense for these other teams to try to like keep their players from an academy and then promote them onto their main roster.
yeah. I mean, there's a ton of examples. There's also examples of players who have moved teams and perform. But I definitely, if you think like if you look like at C9, you can also I was thinking TSM like Spica, who's like considered like one of the best junglers right now. He just moved through the TSM system as well. So like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that it's easier for players. I think it's pretty natural, right? You work with the system, you see coaches, you see the scrims, like you play in some of the scrims while you're in academy. Like, I mean, I guess it's sort of obvious to me at least, right? Like that would be easier. I mean, I don't think we have like a million good players everywhere. You know, like obviously the server is smaller. You know, it's just how it is compared to like Korea and China, but it definitely can be done better. And I obviously don't have like a huge knowledge of like the other regions and how they do it, but when I look at like Korean teams, I notice like a lot of players come in through like the trainee system into like LCK Challenger, and then you see like SKT, like all those players just jump up to the main roster. Obviously, they have like a ton of players, so to me it makes sense. But that's just me at least.
Well, you've convinced me. This is the new banner that I will wave on all my shows and in my content. Armao, we are well over time. Riot's going to scream at me in a second. What do you want to say to any of the fans out there?
To TL fans and I guess fans of me, thank you for the support. Don't know exactly what will be happening. Everything. I hope Santorin recovers fast, and can play as well. I think he's very good. But when I'm playing LCS, I'm just going to try to do my best, win every game we have, and yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Armao. Great to speak with you, and congratulations on the win today. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things League of Legends esports right here on my YouTube channel. Howdy. It's me, Travis Gafford. I live in Southern California, but we don't have a Southern draw. I don't know where I'm going with this. Listen, please do me a favor and sign up for Alienware Arena. You can do so by clicking the link in the description of this video, and then clicking at the very top of that page, very top, there's going to be a logo that just says Alienware Arena. If you click that, you can sign up. And if you've already signed up, please go check it out, because they basically have different stuff going through there every week that you can get. You can earn. You don't have to have an Alienware computer. In fact, this is a really great way to help support me by supporting Alienware without going out and spending money on a computer, because maybe you're not in the situation right now where you need to do that. Hopefully in the future you will be, for everyone. That would be great for me and you and Alienware. But this is a cool way that you can sign up. We love it when people sign up for Alienware Arena. Thanks for watching.